Hey guys, my name's TZ. How you guys doing? And in this video, I'm going to show you 5 types of roofs that people make in Minecraft. But sometimes they just don't know how to make them look good. So that's what this video is going to be for. So I'm going to show you 5 types of roofs you can make in this game. And I'll teach you how to make them better or improve on them. So let's show off the first example that a lot of people will likely build. There are some builds that generally will have a roof like this where it is way too wide, the build, and the roof just looks like this. For example, I would definitely always add at least an accent on this, like on every side of these roofs, and most importantly, this is a roof type that a lot of people use, as this is the very classic A-frame design. And I will give you I'll just show you a simple way of just improving that roof design, and simply just to add an overhang. If you overhang your roofs by just one block, or even if you want to a second block, it will just add a little bit more depth to the design, and also just to add stairs underneath the stairs. Then you'll also get this very smooth line that goes from the top to the bottom. As you can see here, this house is definitely well more proportioned than the other house. And we also see we actually add an accent color in this roof when you use deep slate tiles here. But in general, this is a very simple thing to do or add to your roofs that just makes them look better. And also another pro tip I would advise to do is change out the wood on top of your roof. Use a darker wood, use a lighter wood. For example, on the roof here, I here just put spruce, but I would actually replace this with dark oak as it does look nicer. But this kind of a roof type I would personally use in more of like a wooded environment or in a colder environment in general, as it brings the realism of using an A-frame in that kind of environment. So generally, that is how to improve on A-frames. Another type of roof type that a lot of players will try and make is this pointier version of the A-frame. Now, a pointy version of this A-frame would be used on more builds like medieval type of builds or even castles. And this is a good example right here of where this roof type is being used. As we can see here, I actually also added an accent color just like I did over there before. And I also used this mangrove wood to really make the bottom half of it a little bit more distinguished from the top. And we also added these little spiky things on the edge of these roofs just to add a little bit more extra detail and a little bit more coolness onto it. As you can see here, this is actually what I would say a poor excuse of how to use an A-frame. As we can see here, there is no stairs on the top or even at the bottom, but I would actually recommend to put them only on the top, because when you put on the bottom, it makes the roof way too thick. And if you're making a really big house, then yeah, I would recommend doing that otherwise. But to just simply replace these blocks here with stair blocks would just be a lot better, and it would just make this slightly more smooth, the line. And also to never put these type of roofs on very wide builds as well. This is a roof type that you always want to use on very thin bases. That would allow the roof to be as more impressive than possible. Let's move on to the third type of roof design that people will likely use. Now, this roof design here, as we can see here, is what I would call a flattened C shape. Now, this flattened C shape is a roof design I don't really see in many builds that I've seen around. And personally, I do like this roof type, as this can be used in a really cool way. And I'll show you here an example here, where instead of using an A-frame or even a medieval style roof design, this kind of flattened C shape makes this build look a bit more casual, looks a bit more natural, and you could easily put this in many types of styles and color palettes. Like as you can see here, I used mud bricks, stripped jungle logs, and a bit of oak there for the slabs, and dark oak as the main background color. And so generally, that is another roof design that I think people should be using in general. The next type of roof design that I always see players trying to use, but they just can't really do it effectively, is this full C shape. Now, it's a bit of a bigger C shape than the one we have there before, but this one is definitely where the roof will hug the sides of the building a lot more, and generally this can be used on more wider builds. So if you're going to build like a barn, or if you're going to build a warehouse, then this, my friends, will be a very useful roof type. And actually, speaking of barns, this is a really good example of this roof being used. We have this very nice C shape that goes around it, and you can also see that the weathered copper wraps around the building very well, and it actually hugs the sides too. And in general, this is a good example of a nice C shape that goes around the top of the roof. But let's move on to the fifth and final example of a roof that some players will try and make, but they can be better. And that roof type is the I would call the castle, or the cone, or the very pointy roof that's kind of circular. This is used on a lot of things, for example, towers, castles, and even ice cream shop. But a good example of using a cone-like shape roof is on this stone fort. Now this stone fort here may not look like it has a roof, more like a flat roof with a little bit of fancy guardrail around it. But actually, I've put this little mid bit here where this kind of Middle Eastern inspired cone roof. And as we see in the Middle East, we have these very wide based tier shaped roofs, and then it then funnels out very quickly up to a very point right there. So that's where I kind of got my inspiration for this roof type. But there was also another example of a roof type that some players will build and unfortunately don't know how to improve on. But this is the roof type I'm talking about, is this thing right here. As you can just see here, it isn't proportioned, and that's another thing I want to tell you about these type of roofs, is that you gotta make these roofs proportionate to the actual build. If you're making something like this, for example, I would say you'd want to have this roof here at least another 3 or 4 blocks to at least be somewhat proportionate to the bottom part of the build. Now the build here is not even that bad. We have little indents with the stair blocks. We're using panes here, and we also have a little stair block in the panes as well. Which, by the way, if you're wondering why this has no border, that's because I'm just using a vanilla tweak. So if you want to check that out, go to vanillatweaks.com to get your resource packs, data packs, and crafting tweaks as well. And so that's where you can get them. But in general, this roof is just it looks like a pile of cobblestone. But actually, the way I actually truly see this is if there's actually a bed underneath this, and we're just playing Bed Wars. So yeah, this is just literally a bed under here, just be expected. But that is another technique I would recommend to your build, your roof type there, is to make them more taller. And finally, our final example here for this roof type is this very beautiful sandstone watchtower. Now, I'd see this in like a middle of the desert, for example, and it's just there, just, you know, will look cool. And we also have other aspects as well. We have this very nice roof here with a little curve in the middle, and in general, it looks more like a bell. Yeah, a bell. But in general, I would say another good technique you can use to make your build here look better is to mix colors in. So for example, you have bricks here, you have rooted dirt, surprisingly. Yes, rooted dirt actually looks good here. But we also have polished granite as well. So these little like blocks, if you actually do want to, or you can actually mix in different types of blocks that look similar to each other, and they will hopefully look good and make your roofs actually textured. And that is it for the entire video. So guys, if you did enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like. And if you found this video informative, that would be great. And I hope to see that you guys will be able to build better roofs and to improve on them. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to take it easy, and peace.